Hi, welcome back to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. It's a video that I'm doing today. I've had a lot of requests on my channel and from my social media that there's nothing out there to show the flashing of the firmware for the Genmitsu LC40, the laser engraver, the 10-watt one. So I haven't done one, so I've done videos on the machine, so I thought I would actually do a video on how to flash it and just mention some of the problems that occur. So what I'll do now is the unit's downstairs, so we'll go downstairs and I'll show you that from the flashing of the software. Right, what I'm going to do is show you now with this video is exactly flashing it back from GRBL for LightBurn back to the original firmware. Now it does state that in the when you first get your machine that you operate it from the mobile app or from the mobile app software that you get on you put it on your PC. Now when you want to flash it, I'll show you how you flash it from the mobile app. Unfortunately, because mine's actually flashed, I can go through the motions, I can put it back to the original firmware, but when I want to operate and flash it from the mobile app, it won't, because that's the one thing, the bugbear about this machine is the fact that you cannot it allow you to flash back to the original firmware through a PC and then go back to GRBL through the PC. But once you flash from the mobile app to GRBL to run LightBurn, it will not let you flash again. That's one downfall with it. Now unfortunate, they sent me a new board for this, and I think it had actually which wasn't the problem, it was the actual flashing that was the problem. It actually it must have been flashed at some stage, because I could go backwards and forwards from original, which worked fine, to GRBL for LightBurn. But when I went back to the original and I tried to flash it through the mobile app, it wouldn't allow me. So that's actually, once you've done it, that's it. You can go backwards and forwards, but you can't flash it ever again from the mobile app. So it has to be done from a PC. So I'll just show you I'll flash it back to the original firmware. The actual it's on LightBurn now. It's set up in the mode for flashing, which is, and then that puts it into the flashing mode. So then when you click on that, this is the original firmware. This is on your chip. All I've done is transferred the file onto my desktop. Once you open that folder up, you'll get these. Alright, and all you do is click on that and it'll come up like that. Start upgrade, and you'll get a green band go across. When that's completed, the machine will home, as you can hear it. That's to the original firmware now. You can click out of that and you can go off that. You can click from that now. That's back to the original firmware. So what I'll do now is I'll switch my phone on so that you can see my mobile phone. Disconnect it from the USB because it doesn't need to be connected now. So here we are. That's the mobile app that you put on. You can see that, everybody. So if you click that, go back. It's only because I've been in it. it says not connected, so you click on that, searching for the device, and it's come up LC40, so you click on that, connected. So obviously whatever you do now, I'll just swing you around a bit more so you can see the machine in the background, so I can show you what it does. So if I'll do a quick text solid and click in there, text, click in there, and then I go Tony. Okay, right, next step. No, that's fine. Next step. Now if I press on that, watch the laser. It's starting to frame. Obviously it's a big laser dot, but I haven't adjusted it down for the focus. So that'll continue to frame, which is pretty good really. And it does it wherever that is in the size of your workspace, then that is framing. So then all you do is click it again and it goes to the center, it stops. So you would obviously it would have been adjusted down for the focus distance with the little piece of spacer. That's that, which is kept in the here. So that shows the machine's working on original software. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go back, because I don't want to use it anyway. So to actually, when you get the machine and you're going to actually flash it to GRBL, is you go into that, you go into your devices, and then it'll say firmware version upgrade. You would normally click on that. You see, you can touch that one, but that won't allow you to do anything now, because this has been flashed already. So you can only now do it from a PC to flash it either back to the original or forward to GRBL for LightBurn. Now the actual, I'll go back to that one. Now obviously it's connected and your little man, that'll work perfectly. And if you wanted to use the rotary on this, which is a USB rotary, it'll work fine. All the software that's equivalent to this, the app software, if you've got it on your PC, you just go into it and connect the rotary machine up. So that's running back from GRBL back to the app software, and it's pretty good, to be honest with you. It's pretty simple. Anybody that don't want to, you know, they're in the workshop but they haven't got a PC and want to use the app, it's brilliant, and it works every time. But now what I'll do is I'll flash it back to working on LightBurn. Okay, I'll just go out of that. I'm out of the app now. Right, I'm back. What I'm going to show you now is, first of all, is when you connect it up to flash it, you connect it up with the USB. I'll just go through this because I'm getting a lot of questions about this one. When you connect it up, I use my laptop. My mainframe PC downstairs in the workshop is, unfortunately, have other things connected to it, and you've got to be connected through COMS 3 port with the driver, as it says in the instructions and the videos that are on Sane Smart site that shows you how to do it. You must install that driver, and it must be on COMS 3. And what's more is, on my laptop which does it, I've got to make sure that my Bluetooth is disabled. I ain't using Bluetooth. I'm using a wireless mouse, but it's not Bluetooth. So that has to be disabled, I've found out, because it wouldn't flash at first. This is what I mean, it shouldn't be this complicated in order to flash it to work for GRBL. You know, this should have been sorted out by SainSmart. It shouldn't be left to other people to sort it out, trial and error. So I'll go into the device settings. I'm just go into your device manager, and it'll show you. And then when you get your comms port up, right, see that there? It says USB serial CH340 comms 3. That means this LC40 now is in flashing mode. Press the button in while the button's in for 3 to 5 seconds, then press the on button, then release them. So you're in that mode, it's connected, and it must be comms 3 CH340. I've tried it on all the other ports and all the machines, it doesn't do it. Only on comms 3. And that driver, you get the file in order to install that driver on the little chip that you get, memory stick. So right, we're connected there, so we know we're up. Right, come out of this now. Now it's the same as when you flash to back to the original firmware. It's just a different file. So what, yeah, I have it on my desktop here, which is GRBL firmware. Open that up, just the same as that, for flashing back to the original firmware, and you'll see that the little green squiggle. Well, if you double click on that, it'll say start upgrade. You're in flashing mode, upgrading. You see, that's into GRBL. It only takes a few seconds. So what one lad on YouTube does is he's in LightBurn, he wants to use the rotary, so you have to put some command codes in and flash the firmware to the actual rotary that you get for this machine, a USB one, and you actually flash it to the firmware to run the rotary. Well, unfortunately, I have the rotary for this machine, LC40, but I don't do that. What I do is I flash back to the original firmware and plug it in and use the as you would do with the mobile app or the software on the PC, and I do it that way. When I'm using LightBurn, I use my X-Tool D1 if I want to use the rotary, because I've got a rotary chuck. So that's what I use that for. I have it, I purchase it just to see how it works, and it's brilliant. You use it from your mobile app and it does a good job. And then once I've finished with the rotary, I flash back to GRBL if I'm not going to use the app again. So that's done now, so we'll close out of that. And as you can see, well, you can't see at the moment, it's just in the bottom left hand corner is the laser head on the machine. So now I'll go into LightBurn, right, we're in LightBurn now, and as you can see, it's got the right comms 3. If you look down there, it's got the right comms port, but it says X-Tool D1. Now I've also used my X-Tool on this, so I click on that and I click onto the LC40, right, and it says, comes up OK. So right, there we are. I've just clicked on home. It's connected now, and if you look, I'll turn you around. the machine is homing. And that's when you home it on LightBurn, that's where it goes. Right, now obviously I'm just trying to keep both in the machine as well as the screen a bit. Now that's your work area, and that's because when you actually connect it up and with LightBurn for the first time, it'll ask you the size and everything. If you look at the devices here and then click on the LC, I've got X-Tool and LC40, which is what comes over on the bottom. If you click on that one and click edit, that's your GRBL, next, USB, next. That's your sizes. That's what comes in when you import it. There's instructions in the instruction book to do this, so it's quite simple. The hard bit is getting it connected and getting it flashed. So that's your sizes. So I've known it to do it. It's all set up for me. So now what I do to test it is, just turn you away from there, is you'll see that there. Set laser position by clicking. So if I click that, it'll go to red. If I click anywhere on that board, that machine's gone to that spot. And I do it because what I have down in the workshop is, for this machine, it's secured to a board. I've just taken it off at the moment, and it's got a honeycomb panel that's secured in position, and it's the 00 front left corner is exactly where the measurements are on the honeycomb panel. So I know when I'm looking at the panel there, if I send it to, well, you know, that point there, it would be exactly the same on the honeycomb panel. So as I say, everybody has their own way of setting it up and how they work LightBurn. I'm not going to go through that, because there's a lot of people out there that are far more experienced and knowledgeable on LightBurn than me. But I just wanted to show how this actually flashes. Now I'll come out of this now. I'll come out of LightBurn, because it's just about flashing it really. I'll go back to my PC. I'm hoping you can see all this. The machine's running. I'll switch it off. But as I say, the two files that are on and I keep them on my desktop, is there. As you can see, the original firmware, which I flash back. I've no course to go back unless I'm going to use the rotary. It's good if you haven't got a PC and you want to be quick from the phone. It's brilliant, and the app works. There's no mistake about that. The rotary works from it. I've used the rotary. I haven't had any issues with that. And then the GRBL is for LightBurn, and you flash that, and I've shown you how it does that. Now what you'll get on some occasions is when you try to flash, it won't. You'll get to that where it says start. I'll just show you that one. Now the machine's off, it's not in that mode, so I'm just going to disconnect it. And when you try and flash, that'll come up as normal. And you say device not found, or you'll get another box up saying that there's an I/O error. Now this is what I took up with SaneSmart, and you should be able to flash see through any comms port, because if you're using comms 3 but you connect through comms 5, you should be able to flash it through comms 5. So there's something wrote in the firmware that's telling it. I don't know, I'm not clever enough to know programming for firmware, but you should be able to flash it through any comms port that this machine is connected to. I can, you know, although my X2D1's connected through COM3, I actually used it originally because I had something else connected on COMS5, and it works. But for flashing it, you can't. It has to be COMS3, and that has to be a clean port. Now there is a chap that's on. He messaged me actually on my channel, and he found that it's because of the comms ports, some of them aren't clear, so clear of information, so it's rather complicated, and he's got it to work absolutely fine. But as I say, I found it works on my laptop and it works on my other PCs as long as I've got COMS3 available with nothing else. But you must disable your Bluetooth, or I found on every one, for that Bluetooth's active, it must be communicating somewhere through COMS3. I don't know, but I know that if I disable it, it works every time. But my PC downstairs, I have some other things connected to it for my main CNC machine, my Pro one, and it's real. I don't want to alter that. If I want to flash it back, I just take my laptop in the shop and flash it back to original firmware. But majority of the time, I keep it on GRBL for LightBurn. So, right, I'm hoping that that's helped a little bit. But as I say, with the original firmware, when you flash into GRBL, that's how you would do it, how I showed you. Now, as I say, I can't go any further than touching that for the upgrade because I've already flashed mine, and then the board that Smart sent me, thinking that it was the board that was faulty, that had already, at some stage they must have flashed it to try it to make sure. But what they hadn't realised is, once you've, although it does say it, but they hadn't realised, I don't know why, that once you flash it from the mobile app to GRBL, you can't ever flash it back to GRBL through the app. You have to do it backwards and forwards through the PC. Well, come on. This day and age with technology, having to use a precise COMS3 port, you know, and having this issue is ridiculous, you know. But anyway, that's the way it is. So I hope everybody's understood what I've done. I'll just as I say, it's not, it was just something that I wanted to show, because there's no videos out there on really using the app as such, or there's not, I haven't found one on flashing the firmware from the app, and that's, from Sainsmart's point of view, that's appalling, really. That video should be out there to show somebody how to flash it if they can't connect it to the PC to run LightBurn. For flashing, that is. I don't know. Anyway, welcome back. I hope the video was informative. It's one of those videos where you can show things like the flashing to the mobile app, because mine was originally flashed from the app to GRBL for LightBurn. I could no longer flash from the app again. Once you've done it once, that's it. And I've tried various, it just will not flash back to GRBL once you have used your mobile phone to flash. So, but on the PC you can go backwards and forwards. And as I say, you know, I did say in the video when I was showing it that I actually use the rotary on the LC40. It's good rotary. As I say, I don't know what I mentioned, that I did about 100 pencils for somebody as a favour, and the rotary on that was absolutely brilliant for it. But it's USB mounted, so you plug it on the back of it, but it's not that simple to use through LightBurn. You've got to put code in, you've got to reflash it to the firmware for using the rotary, and I use the X tool. I've got the rotary chuck, so I've no cause to, you know, on my tumblers I do on that, although it would do it quite well on the LC40. But in order for me to use the rotary, I've got to flash it back to the original app firmware, or the app firmware that's on the Windows on my PC. So I just flash it back and I use it. So, and it isn't that often. I bought it I got the rotary just to see whether it was any good, really, and it was. So end of the day, it's there if I need it, or my other one fails. But I really would have liked that the LC40 would have been more user friendly on the flashing of the firmware. For it to be a dedicated COMS 3, and if you haven't got that available, you're going to have to disable whatever's taking that up. And I've had this out with SainSmart. They didn't know about the fault until I notified them about the fault, the flashing, because the 10 watt was reasonably new. The 5.5 watt was out before. I don't know whether there are any problems with that, because I've never had that. But I know on this one, if you've not got COMS 3 available, I have to, on all the PCs, barring my mainframe one, which, to be honest with you, I don't want to touch that and disable, because of a lot of things that run from that, the main the Pro CNC and various other items, printers. So I just left it as it was. If I want to flash it, I just use my laptop. But all the other PCs in the house, you have to have Bluetooth disabled, and you've got to have a dedicated COMS 3 for it. So you should be able to operate and flash the machine from whichever port it's connected to. Why, I don't know. I'm not an expert on that sort of thing. But I hope that's been informative. I'd just like to sort of just mention this, because it has upset me about it, really. It's not annoyed me, it's upset me. I had a message on my channel from some chap that and when I looked, he's got no videos out, he's done nothing, but he's obviously on YouTube, and he insinuated that I must be getting paid well from SainSmart for promoting their gear when I haven't even done out with it. And he's specifically mentioning the CNC 4040, and I did send him, and I did say to him, you know, I respect your views and everything, and I did send him a long piece back about what I have done with the machine, you know, things that I'd upgraded, because I've mentioned, and I'm mentioning in all the videos, the spindle that comes with the machine, to me, is useless. I don't like it, and you can end up with more problems, and it can put you off the machine. So I don't like that. I changed it straight away and I did an upgrade on that. And also the fact that I didn't like it. It worked fine, did the MDF bed, but I preferred an aluminium one. I have one on my Pro machine, and on the other 3030 that I have. So I changed it, I upgraded that, and I did a video on that, the upgrade. So the fault that occurred for the connection that affected the input connection that affected the touch-off probe, SainSmart didn't know about that until I brought that up. and then people that were having that problem, they did it to show me that there was about 100 machines that had been put out with that fault, but they'd since rectified it. I don't know, I've had no feedback on that from anybody, but I do know that, and I did promote it, that the fact that if people have the problem of the input connector and it, then what they must do is get in touch with SainSmart and tell them that you're going to rectify it yourself, and if you do, they would exchange the machine apparently, because obviously there's a fault on it. But if you want to rectify it yourself, you can get $20 back. So that's through my hard work of finding the fault and then notifying SainSmart. So there was that, and it just upset me that we're accused of getting paid for it, and I wasn't. Everything that you see in all my videos, that's come out of this pocket here, right? I've not received a penny from anybody. They're all my personal views, and I do, hand on heart, anybody messages me, I don't miss them, I answer them. I think there's 3 that I haven't answered from way back, that I was new to YouTube, I didn't know the comments part of it and all this. So as I've got more experience with it, then I make sure that I answer everybody's comments. So I did, after responding back to him, I did get I'd read him out, but it's pointless. I just wanted to let people know that I wasn't getting paid for anything. And the reply I got back from him, it was a tongue-in-cheek remark, and he's sorry if it upset me and that, and he'd only watched one of my videos on the machine, so he obviously hadn't realised the effort and time I put in. I have done quite a bit with the machine, and I think myself I know how to run a CNC machine. I use the Pro a lot and the 3030, so I have used this, I have tested it, and I find it, for the cost and everything else that I've done with it, a really good, acceptable machine. But it's still a hobbyist machine, it's not professional, and I'm finding out people's feedbacks, how to cut aluminium and that. Well, I don't use it for aluminium, so I can't give them any views on that, or give them any information that would help them with cutting aluminium, because if I want to do that, I use my Pro machine. But there are a lot of users of that machine out there that are more qualified than me, and what they're doing with it, some of it, it's really good. And I see this from, I watch all the videos on it, and one thing I always do, if I watch somebody's video, I always comment on it, you know, whether it's a like or anything else. And when somebody's had the time and spent sort of hours and hours on making a video, editing it, and then publishing it, for God's sake, give people positive feedback. But that's just a bit of Yorkshire griping, as we say up here. But anyway, that's the video for today. I hope it's been helpful. I hope that somebody watches my channel and learns by what I've put on. Well, that's for me now. I've done my little bit of griping. I've nothing really much else to say about the LC40. It's, as far as a laser engraver, it's smooth, it does what I ask. I haven't had an issue with it. I've used it on lots of projects. I don't necessarily show all the projects I do, because it's not, you know, some of the things I use, some of the designs I've paid for, so it's a bit difficult to put those on because of obviously copyrights. So I don't intend to do that, but I will be doing a video. I don't know whether it'll be the next video on some of the projects I've done. I'll put them together and just show them, but that's it for me now. So obviously subscribe and like, and until next time, be careful out there, and bye for now.